Welcome back to Insibills, everyone. So I'm going to go with you guys on Bitcoin. I typically only go over the market or go over some stock from the stock market, but I wanted to go over Bitcoin because Bitcoin is probably the main watch over the weekend since it has been continuing on lower and the market pretty much pulling back everything on Friday. So we're going to see exactly what happens with the S&P 500. I went over the market yesterday, but I'm also going to go over the market tomorrow and exactly how I would be playing into the S&P 500. But I wanted to go over Bitcoin again with you guys because we just dropped under 20,000. We haven't done that since our major gap down. Our question is, are we going to hold up here? Are we going to continue on higher? Are we going to possibly gap up here, or are we going to continue on with these gap downs? As Jerome Powell came out on Friday mentioning that we may not have a Fed pivot, so are we going to continue on lower here with Bitcoin? I'm going to go over exactly what we're looking for here. Now, before I jump into this, all I ask in return is you smash that like button and hit subscribe if you want to see more chart updates on potential breakouts that I mention every single day throughout the week. So let's jump into this one. So jumping into the daily chart with you guys here on Bitcoin, again, having multiple pullbacks. Our question is, are we going to have a bounce back? Are we going to continue on with this pullback? Are we going to have a Bitcoin crash? Again, this is very key and very important that we make sure we cover this because we have very important levels, again, dropping just below 20,000, jumping back above it, back and forth. I want to make sure we cover this. As you guys can see on our MACD, we do have some sell pressure that has been coming. Again, this is our daily chart. So each bar representing 1 day of trading and how much pressure we do have. As you guys can see, our EMA lines are dropping below the median of our MACD. Again, Powell coming out yesterday mentioning that we may not have a Fed pivot going into the rest of the year. So we're going to see if we do continue on with that momentum to the downside. And one good indicator on a possible continuation on lower here would be jumping into oversold territory. As you guys can see, we are pointing down. We are almost just below our previous low, just like we have here on the SPY, which is, again, the S&P 500. As you guys can see on the RSI, we actually are very similar here. As you guys can see, we are just below the previous low that we had here on the SPY. If you guys are checking the SPX of the S&P 500, as you guys can see, we are just above, if I remember correctly. Oh no, we are just below as well here on the SPX. So on the SPY and the SPX, we are below our previous low here. So we are wondering on Bitcoin if we're going to follow that pressure. In my opinion, if Bitcoin does continue on into oversold territory, then it could pull back the market with it, and the market can continue on lower and possibly jump into oversold territory as well. Again, jumping back into our MACD, as you guys can see, again, we do have our EMA lines crossing below the median of our MACD. However, if we do get our EMA lines to cross back above and we do get that decrease in sell pressure to the downside, then we could possibly have a turnaround here in that possible continuation on higher. That is what we would be looking for to continue on higher. But as far as confirmation on a continuation on lower, we do have another solid red bar here showing us a lot of pressure to the downside. So we're going to be looking for those white shaded lines if we're going to be looking for any continuation on higher and that possible gap up here that we had from this gap down. Similar as you guys can see, again, we did have this gap down. As you guys can see, we got that bounce buy pressure, and then we did get that decrease in buy pressure converting into sell pressure. As you guys can see, we also have our buy pressure that also was from our bounce and our pullback. Now wondering if we are going to continue on with an increase in sell pressure as we did previously. So again, looking for those white shaded lines like you did previously for those possible bounces. As you guys can see, as soon as we got these white shaded lines just above our first white shaded line, we did begin with consolidation and looking for a possible setup here for a bounce. And as you guys can see, we started to respect our 20, jumps back above our 20, and look for that confirmation out of this consolidation. Did not continue on higher again because Powell came out mentioning possible no pivot. So we're going to see exactly again where we do head from here. A very key point, very important here, that we either do hold 20,000 or do continue on above it. If we do not continue on above our bounce point that we had here at 25,000, then in my opinion, we are still within bearish territory and we are not looking for that possible gap up. Again, I mentioned this previously, but to mention again, if we are looking for that bounce here and for that possible gap up, we did not only get rejected here at our $25,000 level for no reason. As you guys can see, we also do have the lower end of our wick before we had our continuation on lower from a bounce. So as you guys can see, it's a very key level that we would be looking to see if we can continue on above. So in my opinion, if we're looking to go bullish, if we're looking to swing back into Bitcoin, I would at least want to see if we can get back over 25,000 and even continue on above our gap down that we had here at about 30,000. So again, breaking over 25,000 would get our eyes back into Bitcoin as far as going long. But as far as intraday, like I said, just looking for that breakdown. As you guys can see, we have our lows here at 18,000. We can assume jumping back below 20,000, losing that strength. If we do continue on below 18,000, then we could have a major reaction to the downside since we did just reject that $20,000 mark, could not hold it, and continued on lower. So again, Bitcoin to the downside, looking to see if we can continue on below 18,000. And if we continue on above 25,000, then we'd be looking for that confirmation on buy pressure to continue on this gap up here to about 28,000. So we're going to see exactly how Bitcoin does react. But again, I just wanted to go over Bitcoin because, again, very high risk as we do, again, have our EMA lines crossing below the median of MACD here, showing us a lot of strength to the downside. As you guys can see previously on the SPY, the reason why we had one of the largest rallies in the last few weeks on the SPY is because we had our EMA lines crossing above the median of MACD, even even though we did have that decrease in buy pressure, a lot of people are curious, why are we still continuing on higher? We had our EMA lines above the median or MACD. That is exactly why. And as you guys can see on the S&P 500, also having a pullback. We are wondering if we're going to hold our 50-day moving average, if we're even going to test it. In my opinion, it's very predicated on exactly how the RSI reacts and how our EMA lines do hold above the median or MACD, if we can hold above it, or if we are headed below the median or MACD for a possible continuation on a gap down here on the SPY. So again, Bitcoin, we will keep on watch. Now again, with that said, if you are a day trader or you are looking for very volatile breakouts, penny stocks, mid-cap stocks, very volatile breakouts, anything throughout the day that is worth mentioning, we mentioned in the Instables room. Go to instables.com in the description below, and you will never miss a breakout alert today again. And all of you Instables that come over every single day and support the channel, we're going to continue to go at it. Stay patient, take what the market gives us, watch our levels, watch our volume, and continue to look for confirmation every single day. And again, I hope you guys do have a blessed rest of your weekend. And again, if you guys do like this video, it does help the channel grow, and I do appreciate it very much. And again, God bless you all, and I'll see you guys in the next video.